You really got to enjoy watching the SJW and the MRI guys just blowing so much shit out of proportion. It's unfucking believable. But anyways, as we all know, actress Gary Fisher, Princess Leia, unfortunately passed away, and it was pretty sad. Now, as you know, Amazing Atheist has just came out with this video, mainly talking about her death and how Steve Martin put up a tweet, which, by the way, mysteriously got deleted. Now, I did some investigations and found out the negative comments mostly came from a New York magazine called The Cut. I don't know much about them, never really heard of them, but everybody is basically spamming the shit out of The Cut for basically saying the nasty things they said to Steve Martin. And they're right. They're basically lambasting the guy. And by the way, Steve Martin deleted his tweets. Most of the other people that I could find who lambasted Steve Martin's, get this, they're all Twitter dummy accounts that lead nowhere, making them trolls who said horrible, nasty things about Carrie Fisher and all that other stuff. As you know, there are also people who tweet and say horrible things about people like Total Biscuit, as you know, who's a YouTuber who unfortunately has a progressive form of cancer. And what I don't understand is, besides one magazine who I've never heard of saying horrible things about Steve Martin, who left a endearing message about Carrie Fisher, along with a bunch of other trolls, and I can't really fund any other people because, well, Steve Martin's tweet that got him in all this trouble is gone. So, but like I said, most of the negative tweets that went up against Steve Martin on Carrie Fisher's death were all fake accounts. And they left us some pretty familiar territories. And familiar was because this is going to get me in a lot of trouble, but somebody has to explain something that Thunderfoot and most of the feminist groups don't understand or don't know or was never told. I mean, especially people like Amazing Atheists. You see, I remember a while ago that I got in communicate with a couple of people who were trolls. And what they wanted to do was start a war between the SJW and the MRA, or male rights activist groups. I didn't really want anything to do with those people, and I thought they were assholes. But they did name Thunderfoot, Annie Scarzizian, and a few other people by basically going into their comment sections using dummy YouTube pages or dummy accounts they made under YouTube, and they would just put in these really retarded videos or have no videos, and they would just use these accounts to go into each person's under, say, like Thunderfoot's page and say, you know, things that Thunderfoot would, replied, like, Thunderfoot's a great person and, all that other shit. Or reply like an extreme feminist, saying they want Thunderfoot to die and all this other shit. And they would do the same thing to Annie Scarzizian Page or anybody that Thunderfoot was fighting. Not because they were doing it for Thunderfoot, they were, or anybody in the MRA, male rights activist groups. They were doing it because what they wanted to do, and the hope was to start a war between the two groups. And the idea was just to spread chaos for shits and giggles, because that's what these trolls wanted. And it was quite a few trolls and hackers. And they didn't give a flying fuck whose side was right and whose side was wrong. All they wanted to do was to make sure that the two sides, that they would get Thunderfoot to continue on his endless amounts of videos against feminist groups, and just kept him to push him into this area by pretending to be his enemy, and as well doing that to the feminist groups, or find someone who had made videos on him and then do the same to that person or to that woman, and so forth, kind of a back and forth sort of little pushing way. And their idea was just to get mostly liberal groups to basically fight against each other. The problem is, they said also that it was going to be extremely easy because these two set of idiots are too busy already at war with each other, because they're too much dumbasses to realize that they're fooling both sides into fighting each other just for their entertainment. And this whole Carrie Fisher, the problem is that, and they would also even make up Twitter accounts and all this other, and to push these two groups. And by the way, they did name Thunderfoot a couple of times, into basically pressuring him to keep making more and more videos and to say more negative things about feministic groups, while getting the feministic groups to say more and more negative things against the MRAs and all that other shit. And they said it would just be an easy war to push, and it will just be the funniest thing we could do. And the reason why is because these two groups made it so fucking easy. Mainly with the extremist MRA groups, and extremist feminist groups. But the problem is that some of the people who posted against Steve Martin's Twitter seem to have kind of matching IPs with those trolls who wanted those wars to go on, to basically get the liberal groups to fight each other for shits and giggles. And what surprises me is that Amazing Atheist hasn't figured this part out. Yeah, the major one came from The Cut, which is a New York magazine, which is a magazine I've never heard of. They're probably real. I'm not going to dispute that. But the thing is that The Cut is getting lambasted.
It's 2:00.
With all these tweets telling them that they're fucking idiots. I mean, yeah, Steve Martin deleted his, and it's also kind of weird that Amazing Atheist brings up this video right after Steve Martin deletes his Twitter, making it impossible to find everybody who replied to his Twitter. But I guess that's just coincidence. But also, when I was looking in on those Twitters, despite The Cut and the fact that Ed's getting lambasted right now because of their anti-Steve Martin tweet on Carrie Fisher, is tripled, which is no surprising. But the ones who were supporting, I mean, the ones who were saying, oh, do you say this about Carrie Fishers and stuff? Most of them just led to dummy accounts, or accounts that just weren't there, or accounts that were connected to the same people who were trying to trick people like Thunderfoot into repeatedly make more videos against feminism by saying that they're feminists, which they were full of shit. And, and like I said, was in that little conversation that I was in, or in that little group chat, in which they basically were talking about, getting the feminists and the MRAs to basically just, or the liberal groups, to just fight each other for their entertainment, for their social entertainment, because, like I said, shits and giggles. And yet, here's Amazing Atheist, either falling for one of the biggest troll tricks, and the cut is irrelevant right now because they're already getting lambasted as hell by everybody else, which is why the cut did that, because, clickbait crap. But not all of them, but most of the other comments probably were either done by extremist morons, or extremist females, feminists, or by mostly just trolls who had dummy accounts set up. I knew this. How the fuck did he not see this? How the fuck can any of you not see what's going on? Let's say this out.